up, man? Tuning in Savage Productions.
Let's go.
Myself, they call me Savlo. Kill this beat, shoot it up like Twisted Meadow. It's incredible, killers will spit the metaphor. Aiming for a fitted cap and quick to let the metal blow. I'm a east side baby. In the middle with the projects, the east side raised me. Going crazy on the daily, they say nothing could save me. But I'm a ride to the casket close.
Grumpy, you know Grumpy? Hey, if you see Grumpy, you know him, bro. He passes through, so tell him Sav pulled up over here. Okay, gracias.
There's some things I gotta ask.
What up, what up, what up? Mile high salute to everybody out there. You know where you at, Savlokes Hotels 2.0. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Let's get to this politic. Big shout out to everybody showing the channel love. Appreciate the love and support. Thank you for the interactions. Before I start this video, let me make this clear. I'm not promoting gang life, gang culture. I'm just telling a testimony, giving life experiences, shining some light on the Denver Metro. So with that being said, let's get to this video. This video comes from multiple people over the time of doing videos. And they said, hey, you should do a segment on this hood, right? And it's always been in the works. I said, yeah, definitely. You know, got to do a segment on this turf. But I was hesitant because I was going to actually do some interviews with some official members, OGs that I know. But it never fell into place. But I'm hoping to get an interview where they can come and tell the official details of the neighborhood, right? Big shout out to the homies, the OG homies. And I think, honestly, we still going to do it. You know, I'm going to get in contact and see when we want to kick that off. So right now, I'm just going to give a rough draft. I'm not going to go into like super details. But I'm going to mention these fools because they need an honorable mention. So the East Side, right? You go into it and it's a lot of history. And first off top, when you hear the East Side, you're always going to think about the Trey family. You're always going to think about that aspect of the East Side, right? And everybody that falls in line. But there's always OG cliques, hoods, neighborhoods that were not necessarily linked to that circle, that fraction. There was other neighborhoods in the East Side that pushed their own identity and paved the way for the East Side to be what the East Side is. You know, you have to mention these certain hoods because there's so much history amongst these circles that push the line. And like I said, for a long time, if you wasn't Trey family and you didn't push that program, you know, they didn't really have anything for these other aspects in the hood because they were doing their thing. They had that flame lit, and you know, all aspect and respect to that, they didn't really have to, you know what I'm saying, acknowledge anything else. I remember a couple times hearing, you can't Crip unless you this. That's just reality coming from the powerhouse, right? But there was always cliques that said, hey, we push our line and we gonna do it. The neighborhood I'm talking about is Trey7 Dog City. Now these individuals, they've paved the way for their immediate neighborhood, and they've put so much work in since the late 80s and 90s. Before they became Crips, Trey7 Posse, Stapleton Projects, and I think even the Trey Deuce Posse fools before they were Crips, Stapleton Projects. They came over there and then embedded. They came from there and then came to the East Side, embedded their aspect and kept it original identity to their politics. Now, my Trey7 homies, they kind of had the mindset like Brick City homies. We push our own program. We push our own wave. Now, a lot of individuals hear Trey7 and the new younger homies from Trey7, you know, they were pushing Trey7 Gangsta Crip. Now, the co-founders of the Trey7 Dog City Crippin', right? And that was because a lot of the top chapter went to jail, and a lot of fools were kind of like, you know, we're the older homies, and then the younger homies are like, we don't really hear from, you know, the OG homies, and we're gonna start our own stuff. And when the OG started getting out the penitentiary, a lot of them fools started putting the clamps on Trey7 GC and saying, we got to ride under one rag. We got to pull this together. Now, I don't know if it's all the way 100% fully installed, but I heard that all the Trey7s from Eastside, Denver, Montbello, you know, wherever they are, they're following under Dog City again, and they're pushing that aspect. Now, it was interesting because when I hit the yard, bro, and I would run into the Dog City homies, there was so much love, homie, because it was always like we all felt like our backs was against the wall when it came to the east side, and we had to protect what was ours because you had all these powerhouses, and you kind of was like, hey, bro, you know, we against all laws. When it cracks, and if it cracks with any of these fools, we know what we signed up for, and that's the situation. So when we would come on the yard and we would come and interact with the Dog City homies, they kind of were on that same tip. We kind of, like the fools that I always came across, we kind of like linked up and kind of just like had love for the struggle of the aspect of Crip we went through in the east side. And at one point, to be truthful, OG homies like E.T., you know, the homie Schizo Loke, T-Dog, Kingpin, we were talking about different aspects to lock in the sevens together. Boom. We even had a handshake that some of the homies were doing with them individuals because of the seven. So it was going to be a seven connection. And we talked about it all the way to the streets. Unfortunately, it never went through. But those was some close homies from the east side that kind of went through that same struggle that we went through. And I even know some of the OG homies that were in the project, Luther, tied in real strong with them fools. So, you know, it was always good. It was always good atmosphere around them fools, man. And shout out to all them fools. Another thing is too, and this is some real history. There was an OG, and he's still around. Shout out to the homie Chaos. He had relatives that were oldies, right? These are his real relatives. And before the oldies and Crips really got into it, the oldies and Dog Cities, because of him, they actually used to get money together. They had relationships together. Like, they didn't have no friction, and they were not really tripping with each other. He had his relatives functioning with him. They never really were tripping with Crips. But then a situation occurs, homie, and one of the oldies end up dead. You know what I'm saying? And they blame the Dog City homie. And that's kind of where a lot of that animosity and a lot of hatred came from. Then all of a sudden it fell apart, and you have oldies really tripping with Crips. And a lot of people will say the Chicky aspect, yes, that's their main rivals. But even before that, this really occurred, and it was like that's what set the tone for them fools to really like trip with the Crips, because before that the oldies really only tripped with the Chickies. They didn't trip with the Crips all the way around. But when that occurred, bro, the oldies hatred flared up all the way. So big shout out to Dog City Crippin', man. Mall high salute to all you fools. And you know what it is. Like I said, I'm not promoting gang life, man. I'm just telling this testimony. Till the next one, you know the logo. Let's go.